So let's start. I'm going to record it, so we'll send it out after to anybody that was hoping to get on and wasn't able to. Thank you for making time in your day. Busy time of the year for everyone, and I hope that you're enjoying the Hanukkah festivities. What I'm going to do in 1 second is I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see some of the things that I want to show you. And then we will jump right into it. So let me start by, so Rabbi Shanowitz, I know. Rabbi Brodsky, we're meeting for the first time. You work in which school? You're on mute. Go ahead.
I'm in Benos.
What do you do in Benos? What's your role?
I teach 9th grade language arts and middle school computers.
Cool. Okay. And Rabbi Shanowitz, just remind us. Rabbi Shanowitz is in Cheder Chabad. Remind us what you do in the school.
So this year I'm teaching the 3rd grade boys all Kodesh subjects.
Cool, great. And Mrs. Klein, Racheli, if you could hear us, just pipe in for a second. Share what you're teaching this year.
Yes, I could hear you. I teach 4th grade girls, all Limutei Kodesh subjects.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, so we have cross schools here, and I actually I met with a nice crowd last week from, I think, also both schools. I don't know if any of them told you. We're going to be doing pretty much the same thing that we did last week, and then once we get some basics down, first or second session, we're going to start moving into more advanced type of stuff in the coming months. And I'll just start by saying, please feel free to be in touch with me along the way outside of this conversation with any questions. A few people have already emailed me with certain things they're working on, they're looking into, they want more information about. I'm happy to be a resource for Limudei Kodesh in general, technology, curriculum, things like that. I can't say I've spent a lot of time with younger students, but high school classroom is something that I've spent a lot of time in, and happy to share some thoughts on those as well. So feel free to just shoot me an email, send me a text message. I'll leave my number on the form that I'm about to show you in a minute, and I'll send that out to you as well. So without further ado, I'm going to flip my screen and give you all an opportunity to see. Okay, so now I'm sharing. You should all be able to see this. Let me just make sure that I am recording this because I turned it off before. Yeah, it's going. Pause recording. Stop recording. Okay, so this is a bit of an agenda here. Good afternoon. Looking forward to learning together. Okay, happy Hanukkah to you and your families. And let's get started. I just want to do a quick run around that we got a chance for everybody to introduce one to the other. I just love to hear something exciting that you're doing in honor of Hanukkah in your classroom, in your school, maybe a special lesson or a program that you're involved in or that is happening around you that you think doesn't have to be technology related, but just something exciting that's going on to celebrate the Chag. If it's technology related, that's also cool. We'll start with Rabbi Brodsky.
Stuff at Edmund Felden Language Arts, but the schools have different chagigas and speakers that come throughout the week, throughout different grades. Being a male teacher, I'm usually outside of those realms. Right. I'm not in those events. So.
And what's the environment like in the school there on Hanukkah?
This is my first year here, so I don't at this school. So I really.
Where were you before? Where were you teaching before?
Well, I teach currently also at the Beis Midrash Mesivta, Baltimore, Rabbi Shlomo's yeshiva. So that's what I was doing preschool music before this. In the mornings.
Cool. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. Wow. Jack of all trades. Very cool. Okay, Rabbi Shanowitz, something interesting going on in your class or in the school, Hanukkah time?
Well, there's something actually happening right now as we speak that the kids are all really super excited about. They're having a live rally with hundreds of schools throughout the world.
Wow.
And our school is actually at one point going to be the center where all the schools are watching. And they're uniting with, words of Torah and things like that.
Beautiful.
The kids
That's
are
so
really
nice.
excited about that.
So that's being done through, how are they doing it? What are they using to?
What kind? I don't honestly. I don't know.
I'd be so curious. Maybe they're using Zoom, or maybe they're using
Rabbi
something else.
Matisov would definitely know. I don't know
What
exactly.
a great idea. That's so nice. Is it, what kind of schools are part of it? Is it all Chabad schools, or is it?
Yeah. It's all Chabad schools. Yeah.
All over the world.
All over the world. Yeah.
Wow. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's one thing that's happening. Yeah.
So what are the kids going to do when they get on the screen?
They're going to say one of the 12 psukim. There's the 12 psukim and Maimar Chazal that, are said by gatherings of young kids. So they're going to say their pasuk.
That's so cool. That's
Everyone
so
else
nice.
is going to answer them.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of it. Yeah, that's just one thing. There's
Anything you're doing in your classroom?
So we have a break right in the middle this year. I mean, we've been doing a lot of, let's see. We have a really nice workbook.
Not trying to put you on the spot, just anything, doesn't matter.
We're doing a really nice workbook going through the halachas. We have a really nice fun book that we're using.
Cool.
Very nice. That's it as of now.
Beautiful. Okay. And Mrs. Klein, anything on the? I know a lot of people are having breaks. I actually work in a school that we don't have a break on Hanukkah, and our break starts the end of next week. So we're working all the way through the school that I'm in, which is fine. It's just busy. Mrs. Klein, did you have something you wanted to share about something you might be teaching?
Just like about the live rally, they using the Kahoot game, so I found it really cool, and I think I will take it for my class. I will look for other school, learn the same parasha or something.
Nice. Yeah.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, that's great. I'll mention, just sorry to interrupt, Kahoot has many already created Hanukkah games that other teachers and other schools have created. And if you just look up Hanukkah, you'll probably find something for different ages and different Jewish knowledge backgrounds.
But what I like about it, that two schools in two different places could play together in the same game.
You could do that. Yeah, you could do that. Yeah. So, and you can actually take what the games are and you can make your own copy and then edit it and add your own questions or take away. That's also something you can do.
For tomorrow, I met for my class. For tomorrow, we have Chidon on Ilchas Hanukkah.
Cool.
And I made it in the game called the Merot Million. It's an Israeli game. I don't know if someone...
Who wants to be a millionaire?
Right, kind of. Okay. So I'll do it in 2 screens. We divide the class to 2 groups.
That's great.
And
I would love to see it if you could share it with me somehow.
I have it on the computer. I could have. There is a way to share.
Send me a link. Is it hosted on a website? How is it?
No, right now I have it just. Right now I have it on my computer or the PowerPoint. It will be
Send me the PowerPoint. I'd love to see it. Yeah, I'm gonna actually show you something cool in a minute that you could do with your PowerPoints, and maybe you'll even what we say, soup it up, make it even cooler. Yeah, you can send it to my email when you have a free minute. Okay, so let's jump in. Sounds like a lot of exciting things going on in all of your classrooms, and it's really a great time. It's always a great time to experiment and try new things. The stuff we're going to look at now is more tools that I would say you will find useful definitely for yourself, for your own organization. And eventually, once you become a little bit more active in some of these things, I could be repeating things you've heard before or know about, which is fine, but I hopefully will show you some new features as well. And then a lot of it is the type of creation and tools that you can use with your students and use with your classes, depending on what devices are available, setup, etc. Those are all things that we can work out as well. So let's begin. We're going to go through these 3 points here over here, and that's our goals for the day. So the first one I want to talk about is Google Drive. Hopefully you're all familiar at some level or another with Google Drive. Google Drive is a cloud-based storage system. When we use the word cloud-based, we are talking about something that is stored off of your hard drive. So if you have a laptop or a desktop, whatever it is that you're using to work on, the cloud is a space that manages and stores your files and your documents, and you can access it from anywhere because it's in Shemayim. So it's literally not connected to your specific device that you're using. So here's my Google Drive that I'm going to turn my screen to. And what I wanted to show you is one feature that I just wanted to talk about right now. In this feature, what this feature allows you to do is it enables you to take any documents that you've stored on your PC, on your personal computer, Microsoft documents like Word or PowerPoint or Excel if you're using that in your work. And those are all Microsoft. Those are all Microsoft-based programs, and there are obviously advantages. They're powerful, proven programs, which I use all the time. But if you're thinking about using Google more in your school, and maybe you already are using it more in your school, I know that Benos Yisrael is really active in this, and it's expanding and it's being built up. And hopefully in Cheder Chabad we're getting there as well, and we're going to be working on that together. Google Drive, even if it's your personal email, which a lot of you, oh, I see somebody else just joined. Who's that at the bottom?
No, it's me. I'm switching devices.
Oh, okay. Look at that. It's really,
so I'm going to close one screen and put the other one on.
No problem. Anyway, so what I want to show you is a quick little feature in Google Drive, which a lot of people don't know about because it's not a default feature. This is research that has shown that we always go for the default. So anybody here working on a laptop, if you're working on a PC, you probably had Internet Explorer installed on your laptop. If you're working on a Mac, you probably had Safari installed on your device. And most people in the world, that's the browser that they use because that's what was given to them when they opened up the screen. A small slice of society in the world goes out of their way to find another browser. And that is a very interesting sociological study about what, the choices that people make, that they don't just go for the default. Now, what I want to show you is a small little feature. It's available on Google Drive, no matter what browser you're using. But what a point I was making from before is you wouldn't know about it because it's not a default setting unless you're searching around and seeing what's available, what kind of features are available on Google Drive. So over here in the top right corner is the settings icon. The settings icon takes you into a world of different kinds of features that you can add, manipulate within your Google Drive. So the one I want to show you is under settings, under the general tab, and under the general tab, you have something that's called convert uploads. So the default setting in Google Drive is checked off. This box over here, convert uploaded files to Google Docs editor format, that is automatically checked off. So I'm getting some feedback. Okay, hold on a second. There we go. Convert uploaded files to Google Docs editor format. So what this does is it enables me to take any file that I've stored on my hard drive. Any file that I've stored on my hard drive could be a Word document, could be a PowerPoint file, could be an Excel file, and it automatically converts that file from Word Docs format to a Google Docs format. So it's basically an automatic conversion of a file, but you have to make sure that it's checked off. Now, the reason why I'm showing you this feature, it's a simple little feature. It's something that I use all the time because all of the documents that I made before I started using Google Drive were all made on Google Docs and PowerPoint, etc. And because of that, I didn't have another way to work on them in the Google world. So there are two reasons why I think this is important. Reason number one, this is an important thing to start working on if you're planning to use tools like Google Classroom, for example, or Google Docs with your classes, or Google Slides, as I'll show you some in a moment. And the reason why I mention it is because, number one, if you want to be using Google Classroom, you need to be using Google Drive. You need to have files that you've created through the Google Apps. That is the most powerful way to use these things. Otherwise, you're going to be limited in the types of resources that you're going to be looking for. And I'll show you what I mean in a few moments when I open up Google Classroom, because Google Classroom basically functions as an extension of Google Drive. So if you created a assignment as a document and then you wanted to post it to your class, you wanted to post it to the students, you need to have a place where it's stored. You could pull it off your computer, but if it is not a Google Doc, they're not going to be able to work on it live. They're not going to be able to collaborate. That's reason number two. Google Docs, Google Slides, these are all programs where multiple people can work on them at the same time. That to me is one of the most strongest reasons to move to these kinds of applications. So let me show you, for example, what it looks like to transfer a document that was once a PowerPoint or once a Word document and change it into a Google document. So there's two ways to add a file to your Google Drive. Here is your storage space, files and folders. The easiest way to add a file upload is where it says new. You click on the file upload button, and then you go into your hard drive and you're looking for a document that is something you would like to convert into a Google format. So I have two documents here. One's a Word document and one is a PowerPoint document. And I'll just show you one for example, but it works the same way for either one. So I simply click on it, and then the bottom of the screen, it is uploading it into my Google Drive, and it's converting it from PowerPoint format into Google Slides format. Now, one of the questions that I often get when I talk about this is, well, whenever you're converting from one format to another, there's going to be some features or formatting which gets lost. There you saw it popped up right there.
Just going to ask
that. So let me talk about Hebrew and English, because they transfer differently. So Word, when you're uploading a Word document to and you're transferring it into a Google document, it transforms, I would say, 99%. Like, it's very, very, very close. It's not going to look exactly the same, just because the whole setup of the screen looks a little bit different. But formatting, fonts, size, spacing, bullet points, tables, charts, all of that, I haven't really experienced anything major when you have English. When you have Hebrew, I'll put it to you this way. It's improved significantly, and I create a lot of worksheets that have Hebrew text in them. Now I just create them all in Google Docs l'chachila, just from the beginning. I don't even start in Word documents anymore. The only time I really use Word documents now is if I'm creating something that I don't want to be on the cloud. I want something stored on my hard drive, and I don't want it stored in the cloud because it's personal, it's confidential, I don't want Google, knowing about it, seeing it, having access to it, etc. Not that they're like looking at my stuff, but like an example, a resume or personal information or things like that, I wouldn't personally, I don't leave those things on my cloud. Those are, you have the hard drive, you have the gigabytes in your computer, you're allowed to use it. It's not, so that's something that I think is good to see. And I'll just show you. So I uploaded this one. This one was a presentation. Someone came to our school last week and spoke about stress and resilience for teens. And pretty much this is what I could open up the PowerPoint one also and just show you like side by side. I'm not going to do that now just for interest of time, but everything transfers. The fonts are here, the pictures are here, the text is here, so on and so forth. And it's pretty smooth. So what I was saying before about Hebrew is it does transfer, and it transfers pretty nicely. The only thing is that Word has many more fonts for Hebrew than Google Docs. One of the biggest drawbacks of Google Docs, in my opinion, is Hebrew fonts. They really are not integrated, installed into the code of the program enough fonts that are available for Hebrew. What I do, because I don't mind, it takes an extra second, I take a copy of a few words, I copy and paste a few words from a Word document that has a font in Hebrew that I like. I paste it into my Google Doc, and then I can, do you know how to use the paintbrush tool? Does anybody know how to use the paintbrush tool? I'll show you how to use the paintbrush tool. It will change your life. Yeah. Okay. I'm very excited to show you this one. I'm going to show it to you in a second. The paintbrush tool allows you to copy the exact formatting of a font onto any other text on that page. I'll show it to you in a second. That is a small little feature that goes a long way, because if you are thinking about starting to store more of your files in the cloud using Google Drive, especially if you have a Gmail account, your Google account, or your Google School, this is a great tool to use. And you can do it all in one click, by the way. You can grab a section of files, and then Google Drive will transfer. You don't have to do it one at a time. Google Drive will transfer as many files as you want at once. So now let's just go to our second item on the agenda. Anybody have any questions, by the way?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What about Dafka documents?
How are Dafka documents accessed? Through the software itself?
In other words, if I make, using Master Teacher on Dafka, I make, I don't know, whatever, a crossword puzzle or something like that, and I want to upload that on Google.
Yeah.
What's the easiest way to do that?
What is the file type? What is the file type?
Its own name. I'm not sure how to get out of the screen now.
Well, okay, let me put it this way. I'll answer your question. I'll go off share screen in a second. Let me put it this way. You can upload and store any type of file you want. In Google Drive, you can upload and store any file, any type of file that you want. The only thing is, if it's a type of file that requires a certain software to access the file, the Google Drive just acts as a storage facility the same way your hard drive acts as a storage facility. So it's not doing anything really different than if you were storing it on your hard drive. It will not transfer a Dafka file into a Google Doc. That only works for Microsoft Word files, if that was your question.
That was my question, yeah.
Yeah. I can play around with it and see. I'm not a Dafka writer expert. I can play around and see what kind of things come up. But Google Docs, personally, it accomplishes everything I need for. It could be that Dafka writer gives you certain templates and things like that that are not necessarily available on other platforms, and that's great. If there's a way to transfer them, yeah, go ahead.
No, because I know with Dafka, usually it has an export fee. If I remember correctly, it's been years since I used it. An export feature that you should be able to export it into another format that's more accessible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you save it as a
transfer.
Save it as a PDF.
Right, and then upload it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, what's happening in the world of educational technology today, which to me is a very good sign for the future, because Google has become so big and so kind of powerful and all encompassing, all these small companies, these smaller, third-party companies who are doing all kinds of other things, they all want in. They all want in on Google. I think when I was at the school, I was showing a little bit about extensions and add-ons. I'm happy to do that, but probably not today, in a different time. And you have all these companies who want Google to host their features on their sites. So these are the kinds of things that these exporting features, and I don't know if you've ever worked with Safaria, but Safaria allows you to create a worksheet, and then the worksheet can be converted into a Google Doc as well. So everybody now is, if you want to be a successful company, educational technology company, you have to somehow be integrating with Google to really get the reach of people, because millions and millions of people are using this around the world. So that's a little bit on that. Second thing I want to talk about is this feature that I was mentioning before about the collaborative power of what Google offers in enabling people to work collaboratively, students to work collaboratively, and to create shared presentations or shared work. So I'm going to walk through this step by step, because it's just it's a quick step to Google Drive, because this is really like the main central station of the whole world of Google. Teaching a class in, let's say I'm doing a unit in Hanukkah. So create a new folder. I'm going to call slowly. Try that again. Oh, there it is. Okay, Hanukkah. So we can make it orange. Hanukkah. That's also a nice little thing. If you have a lot of folders, it's a nice little feature in Google Drive. You can color code them for different, find them easily, and give my students, but we're going to all version of this. So I don't know if you're drawing that kind, might not be able to participate in this. Sorry about that. Okay, hold on. I apologize. Got kicked out. It never happened to me before. Okay, I'm back. All right, let's jump back into this. So where was I? Hanukkah Learning. Here we go. Okay, so here's my folder called Hanukkah Learning, and I want to create a new file in here. So we're going to create two ways to create a file. By the way, you can just click anywhere on the screen, or you can hit the new button. I did that before. I'll show you how to do it the other way. Right click. I'm going to create a Google Slides. Google Slides, plain presentation. There's obviously templates that you could use. And what I want to do here is I want to encourage my students to create a slideshow, okay? Like you would do in PowerPoint, only difference being everybody can work in it at the same time or on their own pace, and people can see each other's work as well. So this is something that does exist in other platforms. Google's not the only one that does this, but I think they do it in the best way. So we're just going to call this Hanukkah Moments or Hanukkah Thoughts. And, just quickly, my assignment is going to be, this is just offhand, I want every student to create one slide that they're going to present to the class. And that slide is going to have one image on it, which represents what Hanukkah means to them, and maybe a quote or a sentence or a teaching, which is meaningful to them about Hanukkah. So the way that you would add slides, very similar, very kind of intuitive, and it looks in many ways like what PowerPoint looks like. I'm adding slides here. if I was doing this with students, I might write at the top of the slide, you know, who's going to be working on each slide, and then that slide is basically assigned to the student, so on and so forth. Now, how do I get this out to the students? How do I have students work on this? So that is going to be the third thing we're going to look at, which is how do you create an environment of collaboration? How do you create opportunities for students to work together? So part of the answer is it's going to depend on the setup of your school's domain. When I say domain, if you're using Google, it's the Google domain. I believe that we're all in the same boat, that none of the students that we're working with in these schools have personal emails that are school-given emails. But I know that in Benos Yisrael, at the very least, the students have an identity, like a Google identity, which would work in the same way. I think I don't know what you're doing yet in Cheder Chabad, but we do have to have a conversation about that, because we have to create something that would enable students to be able to work on projects and to work on things together in groups that are digital. So we're kind of one step, from what I understand, you correct me if I'm wrong, we're one step behind in that, but we're gonna hopefully do some training on the side to get you guys up to speed in that area. But I'm going to show you how to do it anyway, because it's good to know. And you may end up actually wanting to collaborate with your colleagues, with your fellow Rebbeim or other teachers on different types of things. The same process is done, whether you're using slides, whether you're using docs, whether you're using whatever you're using in the Google world. All these things can be shared among people. There's two ways to share, essentially. You can use the share feature in the top corner over here. The share feature enables you to include any person that you want to bring into the conversation, and you want to give those people the ability to access this file. So I'm going to give all three of you the ability to, let me see how I find this here. Klein. Are the My Cheder emails Google emails?
I believe so.
Okay. And okay, so I've given you all access. There's different types of access you can give people to files. If I don't want people touching it, and I just want them to be able to see it or make comments on it, you can give them, change the access over here. The default is can edit. So, and it shows you the picture. Can view. View is that little eye. The eye means they can only look at it. They can't touch it. They can't give comments. Comment is comment feature, which means they can't actually edit the words or the images or anything, but they can highlight something that they see and then share a comment on the side. I'll talk about commenting in a different discussion in the future. So I'm going to give you all editing access, and essentially what I'm doing here is I'm opening up your ability. You probably will, if you check your email, you'll have just received a invitation to edit the document that I just created. And as soon as you open it, we'll see some of your names popping up over here. And this is how we collaborate. And, you know, with like any class, like any assignment that you might give, you're going to have to give instructions. You're going to have to monitor it. You're going to have to make sure that, you know, students, one of the risks that you run with collaboration is kids are going to, you know, go on each other's slides. And this does happen, but I think if you create the right framework, you're able to really have meaningful group work or projects that students are doing together. And it's something that I've found to be extremely helpful for kids, to be able to collaborate, to be able to work together, to share ideas, leaving aside all the other features that are here on this page, which we're not going to go into now. This is just a basic way for people to work together on something. And the same way we did it here, like I said, you could do it with Google Docs. You could do it with other Google products as well. Any questions on collaboration and sharing and this stuff that I showed you? And then I'll show you one more thing before we wrap up. Everybody's good? Okay. Everybody have another 3-4 minutes? Do one more thing? Yeah?
Yes.
I do.
Okay, great. Okay, let's jump into one more thing. So what I want to do actually together, we'll probably grow this because it's, I want to create a Google Classroom, which is going to be a place that we can share together. But through you joining this Google Classroom, you'll also learn how to use it. So it's a good way to learning by doing, I think is what they call it in the educational lingo, learning by doing. So this is Google Classroom. This is what people would call learning management system today, although it doesn't have all the features that something like Moodle would have, if you're familiar with Moodle or Haiku or Blackboard or all these other ones that are out there. Our school uses Google Classroom as a learning management system. I was involved in bringing the school into this kind of place. And what this does, and I showed you a little bit of it when I was in the school, whoever was there, some of you were there. What this does is it enables you to communicate with your students educational content that you will have in a cloud-based system where it can be accessed from anywhere and everywhere at any time, basically, and anything that you've ever created and given out and shared with students will all be hosted in this spot. So for our purposes, I already created one with B'nai Yisrael, although I wasn't able to get any of the teachers on because B'nai Yisrael is like a fortress domain, and I wasn't, and nobody was allowed to join my classroom because of domain privileges. But I'm going to speak to Sarah Leah, and we're gonna get around it. So over here, you have a nice little plus button. If you're the teacher, you're going to create a class. We're going to, although there is a mix of people here, we're just going to, we're going to call this Cheder Chabad EdTech. It doesn't really matter for now. We're just going to give it that name. Class is created in a few seconds. Delay. Here we go. There we go. Cheder Chabad EdTech. Okay, and this is the home page. So this is going to be a place where I'll share things with you. You'll be given the ability to share things with me, with each other. Essentially, it's a resource sharing tool. It's not really for grades. You could use it for grades. I do sometimes use it for grades, but that's not really what it was built for. Our school uses like a different system altogether. That's called an SIS. That's Maplewood, one we use. Others use I don't know, there's many out there. I don't know what B'nai Yisrael use. Like for your reporting, where you put your report cards, where you put your attendance and all those things. That's not really what this system does. So up here on the top, you have 3 tabs: the About tab, the Students tab, the Stream tab. The About tab, you can put things in here like your course syllabus, if you have something like that. And here is the place where you add students to the classroom. There are 2 ways to add students. Students can either join the class through a class code, which is up here in the corner, or you can physically, manually, I should say, add the students yourself. So I'm gonna give you all an invitation to this classroom, and you'll be able to see what it looks like from the inside. Has anybody ever seen Google Classroom other than when I showed it? Is anybody using it? Oh, there. I'm not. Your domain is also closed. I'm getting the same problem over here. Okay, somebody said yes.
Yes.
Fine. Okay, so I have to work with both schools to be able to get around domain access. We'll see if I'm able to do it. Or maybe I'll have to maybe I'll have to get it at Cheder Chabad and at B'nai Yisrael email. That could be another way around it. Anyway, side point, I just want to give you a quick 2 minute demonstration of some of the things you can do with this, and we will spend more time in coming months on this, this platform. So there are a number of different ways to share resources. You can share resources as an assignment over here in the bottom corner. You have different types of posts that you can use. You have an announcement post, you have an assignment post, a question post, a reuse post, which allows you to, if you've been using Google Classroom for more than 1 year, you can go back to old material and add those posts again. So it's somewhat like a social media page for education, and it's closed, and it doesn't have any pop-ups or advertisements. So it's very different than social media, and it doesn't act as a place for people to be social, but it kind of has that kind of flashy feature to it of posting. And I'm just going to quickly give you a quick demonstration of what we just did. So we created an assignment. We're going to have our Hanukkah learning, and this is going to be called Hanukkah Thoughts. And then I'm going to go in, and this goes back to what I started with, which was, if you are a person who's using Google Drive efficiently, you can find the file that you'd like to add to this post very quickly because you already created it. So just let me show you how I did that again. At the bottom, you have different places where you can pull resources from to add them to the post. So over here, this is basically your hard drive, the little paper clip. That will give you ability to find something from your hard drive, select files from your computer. So if I'm uploading Dafka Writer or whatever it is, anything else that's a file, it's a file that can be accessed. I'll be doing it that way. If I want to find something in my Google Drive, that's the symbol for Google Drive. I'm going to go in here, and I just created this file called Hanukkah Thoughts. The minute I click on it, it gets added to the post. Now, I'm not going to go over time, and there really is a lot more to say, but I just wanted to show you what it looks like. And once we're able to figure out a way for you to join the class and play around with this, we'll have more time and more ability to see things through. But essentially, what I've done is I've created a post. I've created it has to have some kind of document on it, and then when I'm ready to add this to my home page and basically push this out to whoever is in my classroom, students, etc., I will hit the button post. There is another feature on here that allows you to set up a post, to schedule it to go up at a certain time. So if I want to create something, but I don't want the students to see it until next Thursday, I can schedule the post to go up next Thursday. I can always go back and edit it. I can save it as a draft. So it kind of just hangs out here at the top. But when I am done and when I am ready for it to go up, I hit the button post, and then voila, there it is, Hanukkah Thoughts. Everybody who's a student in the classroom can now access it, work on it, edit it, etc. And it's there ad bias goa, like it's mamish, like it's there forever, unless you shut down the whole thing, unless you delete it, unless you get rid of it. It's never going to go away. So it enables people to work on it at all hours, at any time. Obviously, if you're controlling when students are using technology, it's going to be limited time and specific time that they're working on it. But theoretically, if they were away or they were at home and there was a way for them to work on something that they couldn't do because they can't be in school, it would be an amazing way for kids not to lose out on a learning opportunity. When I was in Baltimore, and I'll just finish with this, and I was at the Benos
Hello.
Yeah, I think I had an assignment that I was running, and I pulled it up. People were able to see that my students, you don't even need a teacher in the classroom anymore. My students were working on that in Toronto, even far distance away. So there's a lot of power to this. There's a lot of features to look at and go through, but I think we've spent a good. Obviously, we'll have more opportunities to. Can you hear me now, or you can't hear me?
I hear you now.
Okay. Anyway, I don't know what you missed from what I was saying, but was really introduction. There's definitely a lot more to see, but it's good to start with some basics. And I recommend, encourage everybody here to spend some time with this. Spend some time on your own with it. You don't necessarily need to jump and use this all.
Again, I can't hear you.
In a classroom or educational setting, start transferring some files, start creating some files and things using Google Apps, and you'll find, hopefully you'll find that enables you to go far beyond maybe what you've been able to do up until now. So that's my piece. And does anybody have any closing questions they wanted to ask?
I wanted to ask just a very technical question about Kahoot.
Go ahead.
So
yeah,
I just experimented with it the first time in my class yesterday.
Great.
And
did you create a game, or did you use something that was already there?
I found something that someone else created. The problem I had was when we open up the app, so it shows all sorts of different Kahoots, and there was a lot of Christmas ones and other things, and the kids were, making a big fuss out of it.
Yeah.
And, I don't want to get into problems with parents, that I'm
right.
Sure
Right. So the simplest way to avoid that is plan before class, find the link, and then have the link opened in a separate tab, so that's the only.
Right.
That's the only, and the other way to do it, by the way, if you're doing it in the moment, is shut off the smartboard screen for 10 seconds, access it just from the desktop, then nobody is seeing what's on the screen, and then when you're ready to have it be up on the screen.
They have it on their own iPads. They're using the app, the Kahoot app.
Oh, I understand.
And
now I understand the question. Right.
Now, I could use the browser, but everything is a big deal. There's one set of iPads that we're using, and every website needs to get a special permission, and it takes a long process till it goes through.
Right.
But whatever.
So you want to know if there's a way
to go straight to the menu,
on the app. Okay. That's a question I've never thought about before, and it's an important question. It's a good question.
I can think of an idea, because I've done this with other apps, is if you put the link, for example, you give them the link, they go to open it up, and the browser sometimes gives them an option
to use the app. Yeah. It's definitely a way to do it. Definitely a way to do it.
You want. I don't know. You have to try that.
Interesting. Does that make sense? I understood it. Rabbi Shannon, does that make sense to you, what he said? It's a little bit more of a backhand,
start
wrapper.
from the browser and then get onto the app that way. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Because
if you have the exact link that you want,
right,
and then it will ask you, do you want to, like on a phone,
right?
Email, do you want to open in this app or that app? And then or in the browser in the app, and then you can open in the app.
Right.
We use Quizlet a lot. I don't know if you've used Quizlet live.
Yeah, I use Quizlet all the time.
Yeah, that's what we've been using also.
Right.
It's a good idea.
Okay.
It's a good solution for not having for being able to change the company and how they present it right now. But I'm curious. I'm gonna actually reach out and hear what they have to say.
Okay.
On that. But you should just know, there is another quiz app which I think I mentioned called Triventi, Triventy. It definitely is not as flashy as Kahoot is, but I think it eliminates some of that. It doesn't have an app, so it's browser-based. It doesn't have an app, so if you're looking to, and that one actually is also a collaborative tool. So if you wanted students to create a quiz where they were writing the questions and they were writing the answers, they can all work on the same one at the same time.
Okay.
Anyway, Triventi. I'll send it out. I'll send it out in an email when we're all wrapped up, and I'll send out some of the stuff that I shared with you. Otherwise, been an honor and a pleasure. I hope everybody enjoys their Hanukkah, and hopefully we'll be in touch in a couple weeks. We'll have another one to learn together again.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank
All
you.
the best, and a Freilich and Chanukah.
A Freilich and Hanukkah.